Greetings and welcome to another Diablo 4 video. Today I want to show you the Poison Trap Rogue build with the Inner Sight specialization, which is right here, giving me the chance to have unlimited energy and have a full energy bar, and then also getting critical strike chance, and that for 16.93 seconds. You're gonna wonder, why 16.93 seconds? We're gonna get right into that. But first, let's look into the skill tree. We have something in the basics, we don't care. We have sturdy and siphoning strikes because somewhat we are also close. And then we have caltrops together with methodical to chill. Very, very important right here. We have rugged to get some damage reduction. We get some unstable elixirs together with ballista right here. Then dash to move around. We get some dance of knives. This is kind of an open spot. More to that in a second. And then we got evasive and agile to get some defensive stuff right here. Smoke grenade for enhanced smoke grenade, giving us more damage. And of course, poison trap, our main damage skill, together with subverting. And then all these nice poison passive as well as deadeye, because we tend to be at range if we can, giving us a nice 30x damage increase. Then we got frigid finesse, and we also got chilling weight, because our chill comes mainly from methodical caltrops, and we do like to freeze as well, so we need more chill, and that's why we got the chilling weight. And then we also got Death Trap, but don't worry, this is not a Death Trap build. We actually use Death Trap mainly for its ability to pull enemies together, pull them nicely together into our poison traps. Lastly, we got Exposure, giving us 100x more damage, so you may notice that if you watched my previous video about the Poison Trap Rogue, going into detail, we actually use close quarters combat, but in this variant we use Exposure. And then going into the character, we now have Arrow of Perdition, giving us a 6+ core skills, because I tempered it, I masterworked it. With Scoundrel's Letters, the trap skills are also core skills, which means Poison Trap is a core skill benefiting from Arrow of Perdition, or from the +2 core skills rather. And of course, Bands of Icarus Rose, making our Poison Trap always deal its full damage over 3 seconds, not over 9 seconds, always over 3. And that's also why we temper Poison Trap duration on our weapons. Poison Trap duration prolongs the duration of the Poison Trap, which also means more damage from the Poison Trap, but previously it was not really good, because then the Poison Trap will deal its damage over like 20 seconds or something, which you don't really want, because then it just takes a really long time. But now with these gloves, it will always be pressed into a 3-second window, meaning that we have a nice burst damage over 3 seconds if we temper Poison Trap duration. And I actually want to masterwork it triple. Here I was managing to do it double. Here I tried and then I ran out of mats, so this can go up pretty much double than what I have, almost double than what I have. So if you can manage, and if you like this kind of build and want to try it out, just focus on Poison Trap duration here. And then you might have noticed there's also Inner Sight duration, which is an offensive one. It kind of competes with close damage, or like damage to close. That's why we don't have the close quarters combat key passive right now, because we are tempering Inner Sight duration. And that's why right now we have 16.9 seconds of Inner Sight. You can also put it on the rings, which I did, and also on the amulet, so giving us a nice stack of Inner Sight duration right here. Ideally, yeah, it's kind of like 17 or like up to 20 seconds. The reason why we do this is that during Inner Sight we get enhanced damage bonuses, not only the critical strike chance, we also got, and I will go into that in a second, a legendary Paragon node giving us damage, and we also got a legendary aspect giving us a 78% increased damage while Inner Sight is active. So that's pretty nice. And we want a long window. We actually can proc it every now and then, but in between these Inner Sight windows there is actually an up to 4 seconds cooldown, which is very annoying, and I hope someday they will make this shorter or just non-existent, and then you can like continuously have this, because it's really competing against a very, very strong preparation, and I guess an average mediocre combo point specialization. But preparation is like in every build, and combo points in some, Inner Sight in none, and they really should buff that, but that's just a side note. Going back to the gear, and as you can see here, Poison Trap benefits from Inner Sight, and it has no cooldown during Inner Sight. Then we have Eyes in the Dark as well, just to boost up our ultimate damage, giving us a better No Witness legendary Paragon node bonus, as well as giving us damage reduction from enemies affected by trap skills. Very, very nice stat right here. A little bit of more death trap damage, which we not really like need a lot of. I actually only put 1 point into death trap because I'm just using it to pull in. Maybe I could just, you know, use some points from this one and put more points into death trap, but we really don't want to do a death trap build right here, even though it is the strongest build right now for Rogue, it seems like. And I also have videos about that. You can see them in the description below if you want, or at the end of the video. And if you like these kind of videos and like build guides, then consider subscribing right now so you will be notified. It will be in your feed if I post a new video. Anyways, going back to the gear, it is mirrored sharpshooters right here. Caltrops not only give us chill, it also gives us vulnerable due to this nice little legendary aspect. Also makes it a marksman skill, which now doesn't really do much for us because we're not using close quarters combat. And you can also see here, I temper traps arm 0.7 seconds faster. Really useful stat that is now on the utility temper. We also have the Eyes in the Darks, which makes it that traps arm 1 second faster. So we don't need that temper here right now. But if you don't use Eyes in the Dark, which is perfectly viable, you don't need Eyes in the Dark for this build, then yeah, I suggest using the temper because we're dishing out a lot of poison traps and we want them to pop, pop, pop. Because if you don't have the, let me show this here, if I don't equip them, then I have a arm time of 1.22 seconds, which is kind of poor. If I equip this one, I have 0.23, and if I equip this one, it doesn't really change because I think this is the max that you can have on the lowest like time frame. Then moving on to the crossbow, I already talked about the tempering. Then as well, we have the creeping death right here, giving us a 40x increased damage over time for each different crowd control effect that we have. And we also have as a rune note here the Sun Luck, which gives us a challenging shout, which taunts, which is another crowd control effect, really helpful for boosting up creeping death. Then moving to the amulet, I already shown the true sight aspect right here. And we, aside from inner sight duration, I also tempered like trap cooldown reduction because I'm a little bit worried for the in-between windows of like inner sight not being like up. You will see that maybe, and then we still have exposure, like reducing our cooldown on chance of lucky hit, like our active cooldowns of the trap skills. And I just was a little bit worried, and there wasn't really anything else that I needed to temper actually. I mean, I could kind of temper death trap cooldown, but it's kind of the same thing, and it's also up a lot, so yeah, that's what I went with. And then you can see like dexterity, max life damage over time is like the main stats. We also want some attack speed as well because we are like dishing out traps very, very fast. As for the aspects right here, we have vehement, which makes sense. We just cast our ultimate every now and then, giving us more damage. And then I'm trying out Noxious Ice, which actually gives me up to 40% additional poison damage to frozen enemies. Like, it's this second sentence that I almost didn't see, because the first one says chilled enemies poisoned by poison imbuement will further be chilled, but I'm not using poison imbuement. And then like the second sentence is like, you deal up to 40% additional poison damage to frozen enemies, which is nice against bosses when they're staggered, and then just in general if anything is frozen. Then we got the contamination. This is one of the new aspects. And then poison trap bursts for damage, and if that damage critically strikes, then will be also up to 40% increased poison damage for 5 seconds. And then we got also retribution. We are knocking down our enemies for like what, 10 seconds. So this one will also be up a lot. Side note, there's a patch coming like in 2 or 3 days, which will enhance, or which will make this contamination aspect even better. It then is not a flat amount of damage, like 2000 damage right here. It will be like up to 30% of your poison traps damage. I don't know if it's the overall damage or the initial damage or whatever, but it will be way higher than like this measly 2000 damage. So we will see how this will play out. It will be hopefully glorious. As well as Band of Icarus Rose will get a buff, the stat or like the unique effect that reads that it benefits from all its upgrades, which are increased by like up to 100%, will be 150%. Up to 150% in the next patch. Anyways, we're already using this and we're also trying it out, and then we're using Ashavas to giving us more poison damage, as well as hatreds, harbinger of hatreds, just to give us more damage. Cindered's flames, more elemental damage, and then avarice, just because we need to use our energy for something, I guess. And then why not boost Ashava's poison breath? Actually thinking of putting the affix here that will give me a lucky hit chance on restoring my resource, so I have more uptime on avarice, but I don't think it's like really important, and maybe damage over time is better. Who knows? And yeah, what else is there? Oh, we get another rune word right here, which is like 0x, just a staple for the rogue, because we're casting a lot of skills, and then we have like +3 to all skills for like 10 seconds, which is great. There is actually a case for... So you could actually run another mythic, which is Avarice, which is Ring of Starless Skies, and I might just try this right here. We lose a little bit of inner sight duration, but we get like 6 to core skills. And you can see here that Poison Trap just right now does like 10 million damage, and without it does like 8 million damage, so it's kind of cool. I don't know if I want to try this out live. Losing a bit of inner sight duration, but should be better. We're just doing it without it. I don't want to put too many mythics on this build just to make it good or something. Air of Perdition is really nice, but it's also working without it. And in my other video, I actually showed that. So yeah. Then we have Mercenaries lastly, which is Subu, because Subu throws a Molotov, which gives us another 30x increased damage over time, together with Snipe giving us another chance of a Molotov. And then I also got Variana to give me Bloodthirst, giving me... Actually, I want to change this to maybe this Death Trap, to give me more attack speed to dish out more poison traps. Then we have the Paragon board. We got the Ambush, Glyph, more trap damage. We got Cheap Shot. We got Canny. We got Dance Macabre, because like this will be always up, since we're like just only using subterfuge skills almost exclusively. Then Bane for more poison damage. We got the Leyrana's Instinct, that's what I was talking about before. If inner sight is up, my core skills, which my trap skills are due to my unique chest piece, will do 60x% more damage, like up to 60x. I only have 58.8, because it's kind of hard to get core skill damage bonus. You can actually temper it, but then I would like need to remove inner sight duration, so it's actually not really well thought out. So little hint to Blizzard, maybe you can look into inner sight, please. I think I have mentioned that before. It would be really nice. But we got the versatility glyph right here. Should still be working with Poison Trap. As far as I heard, it works with Death Trap, so why not also with Poison Trap, even though it's made a core skill, it's also a non-core skill. And then this boosts these little Paragon nodes with the core damage plus, which gives me a 137.3 core damage, which then means I get my Leyrana's Instinct Legendary node almost to fully 60%. Almost. And then lastly, we got Snare on the No Witness board. I mentioned it before, just overall really great. 60x damage. It's almost too good, because it's hard to pass up and not play ultimates. I would love if there's a way to get an equal amount of plus damage without always having to run an ultimate, but it is what it is. So lastly, we do not have great resistance or something, or armor. That's why we kind of have to use, first of all, we use Elixir of Advantage, more lucky hit, more attack speed. And then we use Queen Supreme, more dexterity. And then you kind of have to use Song of the Mountain and Soothing Spices to give you somewhat almost max resistances and like 1000 armor, together with like the total armor affix right here. Not ideal. There is like a lack of resistance a little bit in armor, and yeah, I actually need Deadly Venom on this amulet and not total armor. But then where do I get my total armor from? Probably from a temper on the amulet. So yeah, or maybe here needs to have a total armor or an armor greater affix. Anyways, let's go into the pit. Let's go into the pit 70 right here. 70. So you can do every nightmare dungeon with it, but it's not like super interesting. I guess pit 70 is kind of interesting. So one thing to note, there is like a mark, you can see it down here, like this one is marked with inner sight, and if I attack it, I'm actually popping inner sight, and then I can just spam my poison trap. See, I don't have cooldown, and the inner sight is running down below here. It's like this 18 seconds or whatever we have, and yeah, and we can just spam it. And now it's over, and now I don't have a target for inner sight, and I'm just need to wait a bit, or I can just cast death traps or something else. And that's why I have like Dance of Knives. The Dance of Knives will probably hit the inner sight target or hit a lot of targets, which also fills the inner sight gauge. And that's like right now a little bit of a crutch. I could also just, you know, like now keep on spamming poison trap because I have exposure, but now I inner sight popped and I have a little bit of poison trap cooldown. So that's kind of unfortunate. And I would also hope they kind of change that, because if poison trap is already on cooldown and then inner sight pops up, then poison trap will still be on cooldown, and only if it's off cooldown again, it will not pause a cooldown when inner sight is up. I hope this makes sense, the way I explained it. It is a bit annoying, you just have to be a bit careful, and it means like there is like kind of a downtime in between, which is not ideal, but yeah, it is what it is, right? It is what it is if you want a little bit of excitement, a little bit of a different build in your life. And that is kind of fun to spam poison trap. In that way, it's kind of similar to the death trap build, actually. And we always need to keep up our caltrops for the vulnerability and the chill. And then every now and then we also cast Death Trap to pull them together, and we can also cast Smoke Grenade for more damage. Shaba's power is just doing its thing, right? So not the fastest time right now because I was explaining stuff, but tier 7 is actually doable in like 3 minutes. And I know, also not the highest pit, but this build is not in its final form. Like, seriously, you saw my tempers and, you know, my poor amulet and stuff. I have some really good stuff, but I also have some really poor stuff. And that's why I think this build has potential, and if the new patch really brings a significantly better contamination aspect, this could really take off and potentially be a tier pit 100 contender. And that's why I'm doing these videos, because I hope people will see it, people will like see that it's possible to do something with it and experiment, and we can theory craft together. I was actually thinking about this build like ever since pre-season. And I knew there was something to it, and I also am aware that poison and damage over time is always a bit weird in Diablo games, and always seems to be not doing as much damage as it should be. But let's just hope it is enough for some decent pit tiers. It is enough for Torment 4 at least, so there you go. And then we have the boss, and right now I pressed like poison trap too soon, and you can see like I have a cooldown, although I have inner sight up. It's a bit annoying, but I was just not paying attention. And you can see we can kind of destroy the boss pretty good. So boss are not a problem. And yeah, this is the poison trap rogue with the inner sight specialization. So I hope you like this kind of video and you consider giving it a try, or like maybe thinking about it together. And let me know in the comments what's your favorite off-meta rogue build, because I haven't seen much talk about the poison trap rogue. There's like something popping up here and there, but I think the key point is like the poison trap duration, which was not like seen by a lot of people in preseason, because like it's a temper that you never use. And this is what activates like our burst damage due to Poison Trap always dealing its full damage over 3 seconds. Personally, I really enjoy this build. I do realize it's of course behind or way or miles behind the Death Trap build, but it is a different kind of take on the Trap Rogue. And if they just tweak the numbers a bit, which they will in the next patch, hopefully it's enough, then this could really be a strong contender. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I thank you so much for watching. Good luck, have fun, and goodbye.